Let's go live. All right, we're live. Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. To the left of me is my co-host, Mr. Alikar. Now, Alikar, we always do this before starting off the show. So if you have anything to plug in, please do so right now.
Yeah, as always, you guys can follow my personal account at AlecTDCar on Twitter. I've got some pretty off the wall ideas. A lot of stuff about football, basketball, fights, the world in general, um, just anything really. And then you can also follow me at Fourth and 26 Sports. We're putting out a ton of content, retweeting headlines, important stories, important articles, generally around Philadelphia sports, but sports in general. And then, as always, you can follow us at Sports Unwrapped. I'm sorry, Unwrapped Sports. I finally messed it up,
Oh no!
You can follow all of us at Unwrapped Sports Network. You can go online and look at us, find some great podcasts, some great articles, just some great content from all over the country. If you want something that's from Denver, Colorado, about the Broncos, from somebody in Denver, Colorado, Unwrapped Sports Network has everything you could need. So take some time looking up and follow it on Twitter as well.
Okay, that's great. So before we get into our headlines, because this week we don't have a fight card, unfortunately, it'll be next week. So before we get into our headlines this week, we gotta shout out our sponsors real quick. So I cannot wait until we see Carlos Condit back in the octagon. But before so, he's a huge proponent of RxHemp.com. RxHemp.com is a CBD product company. They have icy hot creams for anyone who has injuries, who needs any recovery needs. RxHemp.com is the place to go, and we have a promo code RxHemp-USN so you can get 10% off your entire order if you order it today. And also, next week, when the fights are back, I'll be definitely betting. I know Alikar is not much of a betting man, but I am for sure, and I'll be using mybookie.ag. Use the promo code USN100 for a 100% sign-up bonus. That's right, up to $1,000, everybody, if you want to bet. So mybookie.ag, USN100 is the promo code. All right, so we have quite a bit of headlines to talk about this week since there's no fight card, but there have been quite a lot of headlines actually that have been posted this week. So the first one is the one that's been causing the most controversy, which is I know it's about Jon Jones and the UFC. Because right after the whole fight, after Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou, after Francis Ngannou knocked Stipe out, there was a lot of, kind of tweets sporadically made by Jon Jones, and there's a lot of them are saying he really wants to get paid more, and what's called he's like threatening to leave the UFC to basically say, oh, just release me, and there's just a lot of different tweets out there, and so what do you think about this, Alikar? Do you just think that do you think he's scared of Francis Ngannou? Or do you think he just wants a big payday? Do you think he deserves more than $10 million?
Jon
Get
Jones
paid.
isn't scared of anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Jones is not scared of anyone. Period. He's just not. Even Daniel Cormier came out, that his arch rival, his nemesis, came out and said Jon Jones is not scared of Francis Ngannou. He's just not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I want to get that out of the way right up front. I don't think Jon Jones is scared of anyone. I think Jon Jones knows his worth. I think Jon Jones is saying to himself, Dana White, you have said repeatedly over and over again, I am the greatest of all time, but I'm one of the least paid fighters on the roster considering my value.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the greatest fighter of all time, why do you keep having me at these stupid little events? Why do you keep having me headline not great cards? Why do you keep doing this to me? Jon Jones is worth more than $10 million. He just is. You got to pay this man. He is the greatest fighter of all time. You're putting him up against Francis Ngannou, big name fighter, heavyweight. Jon Jones. It's a huge story. Jon Jones is moving up to heavyweight to fight the guy that just beat Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight of all time. This fight is going to sell like crazy. It's going to probably be the number one selling fight of all time. Not ever. There'll certainly be fights that could sell more than it, but This will probably be the most sold fight of all time. It's going to be there's going to be crowds, so we're talking about gate prices now too. So it's just ridiculous. He wants Conor McGregor money. He deserves it. He is, as I've said, and as Dana White has said, and as widely believed amongst the MMA community, Jon Jones is the best. He's the GOAT. Pay the man. Just shut up, Dana White. We all want to fight. You promised us to fight, and now you're trying to use negotiation because your fighter knows his worth. It's a little sad. It's a little pathetic. I hate it. This is the way the UFC works. This is the way they make a lot of money. But please pay the man, because we've all been dying to see Jon Jones at heavyweight.
I just was on my phone because I was pulling up the Tapology for Jon Jones, and like if you look at his past opponents, you have like what, Dominic Reyes, Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Gustafsson, which was another one, Cormier, which was a no contest. I mean, like, you know, like you said, he's been put in these contests that a lot of people don't really like care much about. The other ones that like people really cared about was the Gustafsson fight and probably Cormier, which was because it was a real rivalry. But other than that, like you look at Reyes and Smith, and you look at these fights, and like not many people care about these fights. But then Jon Jones keeps getting put against opponents like that, and finally you get an opponent that matches him in well, wherever he's going in heavyweight, and that's Francis Ngannou. And finally we have that. And so I feel like we need that fight. Like I'm not satisfied with, no offense to Stipe Miocic, I'm not satisfied with the rematch just yet. I think Jon Jones is ready to face Francis Ngannou. And I think he's definitely worth the $10 million or more than $10 million. You know, because he is the GOAT. And it's about time that he's at least got an opponent, you know, that is worthy of him, in my opinion. So there you go. That's my opinion on it. What do you think, Alec Carter?
The other thing is too that no one has even mentioned, not DC, not either of the DCs, Daniel Cormier or Cruz, not any of the MMA people, UFC people have even mentioned, is, and this has never been confirmed, but Jon Jones went up to heavyweight at the advisement of Dana White. He went to Dana White and said, I want to make more money. This is ridiculous. I'm your greatest fighter of all time, and you're paying me like a rotational guy. You're paying me like a fight night guy. This is insane. I'm a headliner pay-per-view fighter. And Dana White, it's widely believed, he said, you should go up to heavyweight then, where you have opponents where I can pay you more. And now the fight's there. We all want it to happen. Everybody's just saying, I mean, who gives a shit if why does it affect me as a fan that Jon Jones gets paid more than $10 million? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't care how much Jon Jones gets paid for the fight. It doesn't hurt my pocketbook. It's still going to charge me $65, $75 for the pay-per-view. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's like, just make it happen, Dana. This is a fight everybody wants to see. Whether you pay them $10 million or $40 million, you're still going to make a ton of money. I honestly don't get it. And you could, if you're that worried about the card not having that much pool, which it would, load it. Stack the card. Stop putting Jon Jones on this weak nonsense and stack the card. Let's get something crazy and make the fight happen, because this is just ridiculous. I feel for Jon Jones, because he probably is feeling like I've been told something. Now you're trying to take it away from me. You're trying to use Derek Lewis as leverage. Come on, Dana. You're better than that. That's what John's thinking. You're going to use Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou fight. Good luck making money on that. Good luck. I hope Jon Jones stands pat. I hope he says, I want 20 to 40 million, otherwise I'm not doing the fight. I'll retire. Because he's not leaving the UFC. That was, you know, that tweet was out of frustration. He's never going to, if he wants to get paid $40 million, he's not leaving the UFC.
Yeah, for sure. He's not going to leave the UFC. Jon Jones is. He like tweets out of emotion a lot of the time, and I I hope that the UFC gets their act together because, like, because we'll see during our other headlines how frustrating. I know Alex rant is going to be coming up very, very soon about the matchmaking. Our next headline, which is a little bit more exciting. We got Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier
Hey, Monique,
3, which
you're
is
breaking
slated
up a little bit.
for July, I believe. So that is coming up real soon. UFC 262, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Monique, you're cutting in and out a little bit.
A little bit? Okay, let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better now. Okay.
Yeah, it's much better now.
Okay, that's good. All right, so I was saying with Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier and let's see if I can go on my phone for this.
I don't know if it's officially scheduled yet, right?
They're working on it. They're almost done. They're almost done working on it. So that's what they said. It's not official yet, but it's getting there. It's supposed to be for the July card. I believe UFC 262, if I'm not mistaken.
No, July doesn't have a number yet. 262 is in May.
Oh, okay. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's a Chandler. Yeah, that's the fun card.
That's the fun part.
I don't know. I'm a little tired of it. I love McGregor. You know I love McGregor.
Me too.
This doesn't excite me anymore. I want these guys to fight for the title. Like this is ridiculous.
It's a payday scam. You know that. It's for a payday for sure.
Right, and listen, I understand the UFC needs to make money. I understand. It just feels like the UFC's trending towards where boxing made a huge mistake and prioritizing prize fighting rather than good matchmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you gotta have prize fights. You gotta have money fights. You just gotta do it. You gotta make money. But this seems a bit excessive. It seems like it's easy to read through the lines on this one that, this didn't end up the way Dana White wanted it to. So here's the third. Here's an immediate third McGregor Poirier fight. I mean, we were just talking about before the chat that Khabib has officially vacated the belt, but he has not left the pound for pound ranking.
Right.
I think Dana wants McGregor Khabib 2. I think he wants it more than anything else. I think he wants it more than Jones versus Izzy. I think this is the fight he thinks is going to be the greatest payday he'll ever see. It's just never going to happen, and he's got to realize that. Now that being said, anytime McGregor fights, I'm sure, come July, we'll both have a change of tune and be super pumped for this fight. McGregor will, hit social media. He'll show his training videos that he's taking it seriously this time, even though he looked like he was taking it seriously last time. He just didn't check the damn leg kicks, otherwise he would have won that fight. But anyway, I mean, it was going to happen. I wanted to see Poirier fight for the title. I think he deserved it. It's a little upsetting that he, especially since he's been such a high character guy and a guy motivated by championships in the past, and all of a sudden he just wants to get paid. I understand you got to care about your family. I totally get that. But it's a little upsetting to see that somebody would prefer got offered a championship fight, turn it down for the money.
Right. Yeah, I'm a little okay. That whole McGregor Poirier thing is a little bit dragged out for me, right? Because we just saw it, and I just got off the hype off of it, and now I'm just like, oh, we're gonna get a third one, and I understand Poirier wants a payday. I understand that maybe family is always a huge priority for everybody, but at the same time, it's just that he's like you said, he's usually motivated by getting that belt, getting that strap, and it's just really kind of weird. It's like someone making a weird left turn all of a sudden, and you're just like, huh? you're like, why are you wanting the payday over the belt? That's kind of weird. I didn't expect that from you at all. You know, especially from Poirier. Like McGregor, I kind of expect that from, you know. But not Poirier, that's for sure. And I'm not like maybe come July, like you said, we'll get more excited for this fight. But right now, I'm not really too keen on talking about it too much. It's just that it just got announced that they're working on it, so I know a lot of people are really excited about it though, and basically a lot of people are on Poirier's side. Like they understand. Like for him, some people are frustrated that he's not fighting for the belt. Some people are on his side that he should get that payday. And so whatever it happens to him, like like whatever he wants to do, that's on him. I prefer if he fought for the belt. I prefer if it was like Oliveira versus Poirier. That would have been my matchup personally that I wish I could see, but it is what it is. When it comes to Michael Chandler, though, I guess my question to you, Alucard, is: do you think it's fair for him to get that title shot, even though he's only won that one fight in the UFC?
Yeah. You know my answer on this already. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I actually have my answer is going to change a little bit. I think he absolutely deserves a fight because he demolished Dan Hooker. At the time, was the sixth best fighter in the division. So it wasn't even. That was over in a blink of an eye. If you blinked, you missed the entire fight. That speaks volumes. Justin Gaethje, I don't know, is apparently out of contention. No one's even mentioning his name anymore.
Yeah.
And I honestly think Dustin or McGregor, I don't think they want anything to do with Charles Oliveira or Michael Chandler. I think it's just terrifying fighters.
Yeah.
Especially since I think the real reason why Michael Chandler's getting a chance is Drew Bronx, one of our favorite guys. I'll speak for you, Monique. One of our favorite guys in the entire UFC. One of the most terrifying guys in the entire UFC. I don't think Dustin Poirier wants anything to do with Drew Bronx because he'll get annihilated on the ground. I don't think Justin Gaethje, coming off that Khabib loss, wants anything to do with Drew Bronx. I don't think Conor probably didn't even get offered it because it would look really bad for the UFC to give him a championship fight after coming off of a loss. Tony Ferguson definitely didn't get offered it because it's pulling teeth with this guy to even get a fight. And who else are you going to offer to? The only guy remaining in the top 5 is Michael Chandler. He beat Dan Hooker. He's deserving to be in the top 5. Everybody needs to shut up and just realize Michael Chandler, who said his biggest regret was not joining the UFC 10 years ago when he got the contract offer, is a legit UFC fighter. This guy's here to stay. I don't know quite yet who I'm picking in that fight. I don't know if he wins this fight, but yeah, he absolutely deserves it. It's ridiculous to even say he doesn't.
I would say he deserves it. It's just that I think for me personally, just because I really wanted him to face Gaethje before getting that title, because I thought Gaethje was going to be in line for title contention, just saying, but apparently not. So I really wanted him to face Gaethje before he got the title shot, in my opinion, but I'm really, I'm happy for it. I'm excited for this fight. Speaking of, you mentioned Tony Ferguson. I wanted to bring this up because basically he's facing Beneil Dariush the day after my birthday. I believe it's May 15th, so I'm really excited for that card. I believe he's on that card as well. So I just think that, but this is Beneil Dariush's time, and Tony Ferguson, you can say bye-bye to his career just because he's going down the drain. Basically, his career's going down. Just I don't know. I just believe that, Dana's giving Beneil Dariush a really big opportunity because he's facing Tony Ferguson. And if he beats Tony Ferguson, he'll be ranked, I believe, in the top 10 or something like that, or even higher than the top 5. Yeah. Right? So, what do you think about that fight? Just briefly, just because I know I haven't brought that up in the headlines, but I'm so excited for this fight just because it's Beneil Dariush.
I think this is Dana White saying, we love to trash on Dana White, but he's really, really smart. He knows how to manage his fighters for the most part. He lets his ego get in the way sometimes, and that's like with John Jones. But anyway, I think this is Tony. I mean, this is Dana White saying, Tony, we're gonna give you Beneil Dariush, who's on a run. He's a legitimate fighter. He's ranked 8th in the division right now. You should beat this guy. You should beat this guy, and then you'll get a championship fight, and you'll be in line for a championship fight like you want. But if you lose to Beneil Dariush, I want you to shut up and just shut up until you win a fight, because this guy's ranked 8th. You just lost to Do Bronx. You lost to Justin Gaethje before that. Those are all legitimate fighters. Beat Dariush, and then we'll talk. But until then, stop running your damn mouth, because you look like an idiot, and I can't market idiots. Not this version of idiot. Not idiots
not
that think they're better.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think if you're asking me right now, I'd pick Dariush to win this fight.
Me
just
too.
Because I think Tony's done. I think after this fight, Dana, at least I think Dana White tries to push people into retirement before he cuts them. And I don't see Tony ever getting cut by the UFC anytime soon, but I think Dana might start talking to him about retirement. And it's a shame, It's not really all his fault. He suffered some grave and terrible injuries that delayed his career, delayed his title shot, and it's just how. It is what it is, unfortunately, Tony.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because I'm excited about that fight for Beneil Dariush's sake. We and you both are huge fans of Beneil Dariush, so obviously really excited for that fight. Speaking of fighters that are pushed to retirement, I don't know if you caught the card recently, but Tyron Woodley unfortunately got demolished by Vicente Luque. And I know for you, you're just like, he should have won that fight. He should have won it against a second tier kind of guy. But here we are. That was a great fight. Tyron Woodley, I'll give him props for being aggressive in the first few seconds, because that's not usually how he is. But other than that, the Vicente Luque just hits harder, man. And he got him with that Darce choke, which was very impressive. Tyron Woodley has never lost by submission before until now, so that does something. And speaking of the fighters that are trying to, I guess Dana's trying to push to retirement, Tyron Woodley is on that list, because he's, I think, 0-6 right now. 0-6 in his last opponents after he lost to Kamaru Usman, I believe. So that was his first loss, and after that he was 0-6. So I just think that I think he should retire. That's my opinion. Like, Woodley, I love you, but I'm sorry, man. 0-6 after that fight against Vicente Luque, after a fight that you should have won. That says something, doesn't it? That says something about his time here.
Yeah, and I talked about, even though I picked him to win the fight, you and I both talked about it. Maybe he just really wasn't ever that good. Maybe the division caught up to him, and talent-wise, and now he's just kind of fallen by the wayside, because these guys Usman, Covington, these guys are freaking studs. They're some of the best fighters in the UFC in this weight class. So, and when he came up, and he beat Wonder Boy, and that's a huge victory, especially now Wonder Boy's a different version of himself now. I don't know if he wins that fight again. But,
right. Yeah.
But yeah, he should have won this fight, and him losing this fight shows me one of two things. Maybe that championship run he had was just too much, and those battles he was in are just wearing down on him, and he's done. Or two, he was just never that good to begin with. He was good enough to win a championship in a weak division at the time, but maybe that's just it. Maybe he was the benefit of a weak division, and really that's why he was a champion. I don't think so. I like to think that Tyron Woodley, we all watched his come up. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So, I think he should retire too. I think this is telling. Now he's saying, I found my fire, I'm back. But dude, it falls on deaf ears when you lost by submission for the first time ever in your career.
Mhm.
No one wants to hear you found your fire after a loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just. I think I feel bad. Everybody in the timeline, like on my Twitter, is always saying like, "I feel bad for Tyron Woodley. I feel bad for Tyron Woodley." I'm like, maybe we just have to learn to accept that he's just, you know, outgrown this division. Like this division is stacked to the max with killers right now. Maybe he's just outgrown it. After being champion and after losing so many fights. Maybe we just have to realize that he's outgrown it. Maybe we have to realize that Tyron Woodley was kind of like older generation versus newer generation kind of thing. That's what I want to see. Like maybe he's just too old. Like he's turning 39 in a few days. Alucard, like the man should be ready to retire like any moment now, in my opinion. So I don't know. I just want to bring. Yeah.
And I hate seeing former champions go to a different promotion and like just kind of end their career. Bellator, you're a great UFC fighter. Retire, man. Call it quits. Tyron Woodley, you're a great commentator, great analysis uh of the sport. Like just go work for ESPN, go work for the UFC. Just retire, man. Call it quits. Pull Michael Bisping. Do something like that. You're a really good personality, and you're really good at breaking down fights. I've seen him break down fights before. So just go do that. You'll probably make a really good amount of money doing that. So just don't go to Bellator. Don't go to any of those promotions. Just quit. Just be done, please.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to bring that up just because I know that we talked about him in our picks and stuff like that. So speaking of someone who we also talked about our picks, Sean O'Malley put on quite a performance this weekend. I was really, really excited about it. I mean, it was funny because like you saw in the highlights that there were times where he thought that he won that fight or the fight was over, and then he was like, oh wait, no, it's not done yet. And I was so disappointed in the first part because the first time that he did that, he should have mauled him. He should have went for the finish, but he just did it, and then the fight just kept going on. And Thomas Almeida, kudos to that man. He has a chin on him. Okay, I don't know anybody after that who could survive a kick like that. Like not many people can. Yeah. So like kudos to him for having quite the chin on him. So I'm just saying Sugar Sean O'Malley, quite the performance. And he's calling out, obviously one of the greatest bantamweights of all time, Dominick Cruz, to the forefront. I mean, I'm sure he wants to that's why he's calling him out, because he wants to make a name for himself. Obviously, he wants to go up there in the rankings, and I don't blame him personally, just because Cruz is up there. And what do you think about him saying that he wants Dominick Cruz next?
And we talked about this in the chat a little bit. I would want him to shoot higher.
Yeah.
But I have no personal problem with it. Dominick Cruz is coming off an impressive victory. He's ranked 8th in the division. I forget where Sean O'Malley's ranked right now. My computer is not moving, so I can't tell you. But this is a good call. I think this is a solid call out for him. I think this is something that where a lot of people would pick Sean O'Malley to win this fight. I think it's a fight he thinks he can win pretty easily. And also, if he beats Dominick Cruz, who's coming off an impressive victory, even though Dominick Cruz is ranked 8th, you could see Sugar Sean O'Malley get catapulted into the top 5 because of a win over Dominick Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather see him fight an Aldo. I'd much rather see him fight somebody else higher in the rankings, but I somewhat agree that he does need one more fight. Now, an Aldo O'Malley fight sounds like fireworks to me. That sounds like an amazing fight.
Yes, 100%.
And it's definitely something I want to see. And I think if Dana White offered that fight to Sugar Sean O'Malley, I don't think he's turned. I don't see Sean O'Malley as the guy that turns down a fight. I just don't. So I think it's a good call out. I think it's absolutely the business wise the right call out for him, because it also gives him something that Dominick Cruz, that weight class is getting much better, as we've talked about. But Dominic Cruz is one of the guys, even though he's ranked 8th, he's got name recognition. He's got the Dominic Cruz factor. He's on ESPN all the time. He's commentating the fights all the time. O'Malley beats Dominic Cruz. He can say, I beat Dominic Cruz, and people will know who he's talking about, and that's a huge factor. It also helps in the rankings. We've seen guys like, Jorge Masvidal beat Diaz and get catapulted in the rankings, even though Diaz was ranked very low at the time. Like, beating and named a guy that people know could put him into the top 5. So it's a great call out. I'd rather see him fight somebody a little bit tougher, but it's a great call out.
Yeah, I think so. I think personally,
I was just gonna say maybe Dominic Cruz like 6 years ago.
6. Yeah, I know, right? 6 years ago, we would have been more excited, I think, about that. But it's just I think you're totally right. You hit a lot of good points. I mean, Sean O'Malley probably thinks that he can beat Dominic Cruz really, really easily, which I think he could beat today's version of Dominic Cruz. I think he can 100% beat Dominic Cruz very easily. And I think that, with the name like Dominic Cruz, like you said, like he can say to himself, I beat the legend, Dominic Cruz, one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. And then catapult himself. I don't think Sugar Sean O'Malley, I think he's ranked, but he's not ranked high.
He's not ranked. He's not ranked. It's finally loaded.
I was looking on my phone as well to see. I don't think he's ranked as well, but I think he's ready. I think he's ready to face someone. I think Dominic Cruz is number 8. Yeah, someone in the top 10. Like when you said Aldo, my eyes just lit up. I was just like, I would love to see that fight. That would have been an amazing fight. I mean, like you see a high level striker and then versus some really great boxing from Jose Aldo. Imagine that, and the leg kicks as well. That would ensue in a fight like that. Amazing. But O'Malley wants Cruz. I say give it to him. I say. There's 2 guys that would be amazing at trash talking to each other. I think they're both marketable, that's for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dana White says, okay, book it. So that's opinion on that fight. So speaking of which, we're going in a very emotional roller coaster kind of feel, because we're going from something really happy to something really sad, something really happy, and now I gotta say something. We gotta move on to something that's really sad, which is unfortunately Mr. Darren Till had to get injured, and the fight next week against Marvin Vettori is now off. And I know you're upset about that, Alec Carr. Just because, I know Darren Till is one of your favorite fighters, but like Dustin said in the chat when we were talking, Darren Till really got to get his shit together, and I totally agree about that. So what do you think about this? I know you said you were very upset once the news broke out that Darren Till was off this card. So what are your thoughts about that?
It's upsetting. Darren Till does have to get his shit together. But more importantly, I mean, listen, you can't fake injuries in the UFC. He, I think, separated his shoulder or broke his collarbone. So, I mean, he's got a legitimate... He's out. There's no way he's fighting. He's out. I bet Theore's really pissed off. I understand that, too. I would be pissed off as well. This is a huge fight for both fighters. More so for Vettori because he's looking... If he wins this fight, he's looking at a championship fight. So... I mean, Darren Till, his statement he put out seemed heartfelt, it seemed real. He wants to fight. Darren Till has never really been a guy that has been afraid to fight other fighters. But he does need, Dustin's right, he does need to manage his fights, his injuries better. He needs to manage a lot of things better. His personal life, he needs to stop going to the pub. He needs to start taking fighting seriously because his potential is limitless in the UFC if he just started doing that. But I do feel bad for Vettori because this is a guy that's, I think his last, if we go back and look at it, it's something like his last 6 or 7 cancellations, and he has never backed out of a fight due to injury in his professional career. Um, so I mean, if I'm that guy, I'm pissed right now. This is my platform fight. This is my fight that's going to take off my career. That's going to really, really put me in title contention. And another guy got hurt. I dealt with Sousa getting hurt. I dealt with Akhmedov getting hurt. I dealt with Robertson getting hurt. Why does this keep happening to me? This is bullshit. So I get it. Kevin Holland offered his services, gracefully offered his services coming off the loss. Of course he did. But yeah, I mean, it's upsetting. I'm sorry, I'll never blame a fighter for a broken collarbone for backing out of the fight. I just won't. As somebody who's had shoulder injuries, I won't do it. As upset as I am, I will not blame it for him. Blame Till for this. I don't know how you feel about it, but I just can't.
Well, I mean, I'm on the same boat as you. I'm upset just because, like, I know the potential, like you said, that Darren Till has, but he just, like, it's just maybe, I don't know if it's a lack of discipline, maybe, which is probably where it's headed at. I think Dustin's commenting on it. Shoulder injuries are bad, yeah. No, that's for sure. We never vet someone for having a shoulder injury, but I just think that, like you said, he's just going in his personal life. He's going out a lot. He's hitting the pubs where he should be training. I think he just has a lack of discipline at the end of the day, just because, like, that's just how else are we gonna blame this on, right? Like, because I'm not gonna say just because he got an injury that it's his fault. It's never, like, injuries are really bad. Injuries happen in the sport, but at the same time, he has a chance to, you know, really take off. And Darren, it's not just Vettori's career. Let's talk about Darren Till. If he won this fight, you know, he would have been next to face Izzy. And so let's think about that as well. It's not just Martin Vettori's, you know, chance at a championship, even though it's a bigger opportunity for him just because he's a well lesser known name than that. But let's see. Oh, let's see. I think Dustin wants to be added to the stream. Come on in, Dustin. Hey, Dustin.
Dustin's clearly got opinion.
What's up, man? I'm just saying that I just think that for Till it's a lack of discipline, and the fact that, like, you know, he had an opportunity if he won this fight that he's gonna be next in line for Izzy. You know, I was just talking about that. So do you have any opinions on this whole Darren Till versus Martin Vettori fight?
I wouldn't have a problem with Till being injured if it wasn't it's such a common thing for Darren Till to somehow mess up and not show up. And he hasn't fought in a very good while, and he's a young guy. He's sacrificing that young age. And any older fighter will tell you right now, do not sacrifice your 20s. You don't, man. That's your run. That's absolutely your run. And he's kind of pissing it away, in my opinion. And when it comes to Vettori is, first of all, a very bothersome guy when it comes to fighting him. He's a good wrestler. He's not afraid to step in the pocket, and you always got to worry about him grabbing your legs. And so he's a very tough and tricky guy, and he uses his hands and legs very well. He's very good at mixing it up. And Howland, I believe, he just lost to somebody who put him on his back.
Yeah.
So it's why he's stepping in so early, just after a fight, I don't know. I'm glad
he's just known that. He's known that. Like he's known for the person who steps in and, like, you know, covers for everybody's, you know, last minute cancellation.
I'm glad he's having fun, but someone in his camp needs to tell him, like, look, man, you take another loss like that, your run, you know, in your division is getting slight. So therefore, Vettori's very capable of beating him. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Izzy couldn't even finish this guy. Holland's not going to just take him out. It's not going to happen, especially on short notice. You don't even have a camp. It's not going to happen. So why he would take this fight, I don't know.
Like, Holland has like 0 fight IQ as well, so like that because of that too, I don't think he's gonna win this fight if this fight goes to fruition. So there you go. That's my opinion on that. Yeah,
I don't
Alex.
think this. I don't think this fight's gonna. I don't think Holland Vettori is gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Doesn't make any sense for either fighter. Marvin said he doesn't want. Why would I fight the guy that just lost to the hardest opponent he's ever fought? Why would I give him the gift of fighting me? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't see why he wouldn't. I don't see Vettori.
Oh, hold on, Alex. Finish your thought, and then we'll move on to Dustin.
Yeah, I just don't think. Listen. I don't see it as Vettori trying to back out of a hard fight. I just think he's like, this doesn't make any sense. I haven't trained for this fighter. I'm not putting my reputation on the line at this point, especially since I got a championship coming my way. I'm just gonna wait. Maybe we reschedule the Till fight. Maybe we give me a new opponent in our weight class, another ranked opponent in my weight class. I think that's a smart business decision. And listen, going back to Darren Till real quick, I don't blame any fighters for injury, but you better believe I blame him for his lifestyle choices. It's absolutely ridiculous. I agree with both of you. This guy's got to stop going to the pub. He's got to stop partying. He's got to focus on fighting. If he wants to get paid and he wants to win a championship, he has to stop doing that and act like his age and act like a professional instead of the kid that he wants to hold on to. It's as a fan, as a Darren Till guy, I lose interest in him every single day. Every single time he backs out of a fight, I care less and less about him. I don't even know if I would call myself a full-fledged Darren Till fan anymore, just to be honest with you, just because the way he, the injuries announced 3 days before that, he's posted pictures of him going out. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. You're supposed to be in the final stages of your fight camp and you're going out. What are you doing, man? This isn't a game. This isn't a joke. This is a fight game. And if you want to act like that, go to Bellator. Go to one of the lesser promotions. This is the big league, and you're here because you have the potential to be a champion. But if you keep squandering it, you won't be here much longer. So I just wanted to clear the air. But yeah, I don't think this fight happens. I don't think Holland. I think his camp's gonna get to him and be like, "Listen, dude, you don't actually want this fight to happen either. Like,
yeah.
You're coming off of getting knocked out. You're not like this is not a good look for you. If you win, great, but there's a very small chance you win, and it's a huge risk, huge reward, which is where Kevin Holland lives. But when we're talking about this high stakes, I don't even think Dana lets this happen. I don't think it gets past Dana White.
When it comes to Holland, even though his camp can say something to him, the power is in the fighter. So if he wants to sign the dotted line, he can sign the dotted line. It is what it is. If he wants to make that ill will decision, that's on him. His camp can't stop him. If he wants to go, he's going to go. I don't think Vettori is going to turn it down. Vettori, first of all, he's going through a full camp. He's been working on his weight probably for months. He's busting his ass for months. So it's very hard to say, no, after all this work, I don't want to go out and fight. Very hard to do that. And then when it comes to Holland, he's a black belt. Don't get me wrong. He's very skilled in jiu-jitsu. He knows his way around. The problem is when you fight a wrestler, they're going to leave zero space. That's what a lot of people need to realize. They don't fight to submit you sometimes. They don't fight to sit there and give you room. It's going to be like Khabib. They're going to hug their knees to you. They're going to use top weight, and they're going to be a problem. It's going to be very hard to get them off because they're heavy and they're strong. And it's just because you have a black belt does not mean that these wrestlers can't hold you down, because they will. So therefore, this is a bad fight. This is a bad fight for Holland. If Vettori gets him on the ground, it don't matter, man. He's gonna hug you. He's gonna hit you. When you're rolling, there is no punches. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot different when someone's hitting you in the face.
For sure. Okay, we're gonna move on just because we have two more headlines to cover. Obviously. Okay, so we'll talk about this one first since I know Dustin's on here. So let's talk about Aljo and how he's being an ass to Peter Yan. You know, when we're
And
talking about this remake. He's even
I
worse
would
than
use
a douche.
I would
You
use
know.
a different word, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is ridiculous. Aljo needs to stop acting like he went in there and destroyed Jan. Listen, I understand he got DQ'd, and I understand that you might feel a certain way, but you were losing the fight, and everybody knows it except for you. You got to give Jan an immediate rematch. There's no other fight to make. Um, you should, and in fact, I have a problem with his mindset. You should want to prove these people wrong. You should want to prove people wrong that hey, man, I know I was losing that fight, but the second time around, I'm going to come out more prepared and beat him. Do I think he can beat Jan? No, I don't. But it's ridiculous. I mean, I started out on Aljo's side saying, it's not a losing by, Jan committed a fight crime, for lack of better terms. He got disqualified. Aljo is the rightful champ. Yeah, you knee a grounded opponent, you're going to get disqualified. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, I can't defend. After like 2 days afterwards, after it happened, the way Aljo has acted, I can't defend you anymore, man. You're acting like an idiot. You're acting like somebody who knows that you can't beat the rightful champ. You're acting like somebody who's already been defeated, and is just trying to hold on to his belt as long as he can. I don't think he takes any fight. I think if Cejudo fight gets offered to him because he turns down the Jan fight enough, I think he turns that down too. I don't pick Aljo to be the beast in Cejudo.
No.
So I don't think. I think he's honestly just trying to hold on to his belt as long as he can because he knows he can't beat anybody. I don't think he beats Corey Sandhagen if he dude, you gotta fight somebody, and it's gotta be Jan. It's the only right fight to make. Just take it. Take your L. Just take your L, man.
What do you think, Dustin? What do you think about this?
Sandhagen would kill him. I think he would literally kill him. I don't want that to happen because I think he's going to the hospital.
Yeah, for sure.
First of all, I do not agree with Jan's knee. That was horrible. I spoke out on it. You don't do that. That is absolutely ridiculous. There was no reason to do that. It wasn't even like they were in a clinch. And he put his hand on the ground, which is a technical rule. I don't even agree with that rule. If you're up, yeah, bro. I mean, I don't agree with the hand on the mat rule. But what I do agree with, when he's on all fours, you can't literally knee him in his face when he has no leverage. That's horrible. Now, what I will say about Aljo, I did not love his Oscar nomination performance. First of all, he was not concussed. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you are concussed that bad, you are not going to go perform a full-fledged interview. It's not going to happen. You're going straight to the doctor, man. That shit is dangerous.
I'm not to interrupt you, Dustin, but you're also not rolling around like you were after that. If you're concussed, you're laying flat. As somebody who's been concussed over 8 times, you're not rolling around. That's not something you do. When you're concussed, you don't move.
I'm going to tell you right now, the last time, I agree with you, as someone who's been concussed, the last time I had, a bad head thing, I was seeing, TV static. You know what happened? I was laying on the ground, bro, and I just kind of came to. There was no talking. I was just laying there what? So therefore, there's no way he was concussed. That was an Oscar performance. Do I agree with the DQ off of morality of the ref? Sure. But Aljo definitely could have kept fighting. I'm going to tell you that right now. He could have kept fighting. I do not think he was concussed. Give him his 5 minutes to recover, and 5 minutes is enough to really to get an illegal knee that really didn't knock you out. It didn't put you on the mat, really. It didn't do anything terrible. He could have got up, took his 5 minutes, took his rest, and continued. Now, like I said, the man that Alec mentioned would absolutely kill him. I'm going to tell you right now, Sandhagen would, oh, geez. I don't want to see it. I don't even want to see Ian against the guy sometimes. That dude is nasty, and he don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
That knee to Frankie Edgar was disrespectful. I saw that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, man, his family's watching. You didn't have to do that. But no, Aljo needs to give him an immediate rematch, and he's probably going to get beat. But I don't agree with his Oscar nomination. I believe he should be in the Emmys this year. He should have gotten that award, Oscar, right on his shelf. He knew he was losing, and he pretended. I'm just going to be completely honest. He knew he was losing, and he gave it up. And I don't agree with that.
All right, real quick, last headline we're going to talk about is something that Alec is not very fond of, which is obviously Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards. This fight just got announced literally less than 24 hours ago. I don't get it personally. I get it in terms of like Leon Edwards getting the spotlight, but other than that, I don't understand this fight whatsoever. So you two, do you have any thoughts on this fight? Because it's really random, in my opinion.
So listen. I'm going to be super excited to watch the fight. Stylistically, it's going to be an exciting fight, no matter what. My issue is why. Why does Diaz get a top 5 ranked opponent? Why is this happening? Like Leon Edwards is supposedly being groomed for a title fight. Why is he fighting Nate Diaz? And this gets back to a comment that we heard from Chael Sonnen a couple weeks back, leading up to the Leon Edwards last fight, is that he believes no one in that division actually wants to fight. Because no one in that division actually thinks they can really beat each other, except for Usman. And Edwards and Wonder Boy are probably the 3 guys that continually want to fight. Colby Covington said he won't fight anybody else but Usman, so that's out the door. Me and Dustin and you have talked about a dream fight would have been Leon Edwards, Wonder Boy, but Wonder Boy's not marketable, and Leon Edwards isn't that marketable either. So you're not Dana White dying to make that fight either. And there's just Vicente Luque just fought, so you're not going to make that fight. So let's just throw out a Diaz brother and see what happens, because this fight's going to sell like crazy. It's on a great card. I'm getting sick and tired of these fights. I just am. This is a pointless fight. Doesn't do anything for Leon Edwards. This goes right along with sorry, I'm so frustrated. I'm blanking. It goes right along with some of the matchmaking decisions they've made this year, like Whitaker Gastelum. Like, why is that fight happening?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. It's a gift to Gastelum. This is a gift to Diaz. Just stop it, man. Let's make these guys fight. I don't understand it. Why Colby? Go to Colby Covington and say you have to fight Leon Edwards, and then you get a title shot. Until you get another fight under your belt, you are not getting the rematch you so desperately want. So you can either fight or you can walk. Stop coddling some of these guys. You coddle some fighters, but then you won't pay John Jones. I don't understand what's happening. I don't get it. I don't like it. I think it's slowly killing the sport. Well, not the sport, sorry. Slowly killing the promotion when he does shit like this. And it's just got to stop. It's got to stop. This fight is pointless. It will be exciting. It will be a good fight. Diaz is tough as they come. He doesn't get knocked out. And he's great on despite what everybody thinks, Diaz is great on the ground. So it will be a good fight. But it's just, you got a top 5 opponent fighting an unranked opponent.
What do you think, Dustin?
I don't understand it.
Do you have any thoughts on Diaz?
To go off that last statement that Alec talked about with Nate Diaz being top on the ground, he is absolutely correct. If you don't think Nate Diaz is the cream of the crop in jiu-jitsu, we can have a conversation, because he's had super fights in jiu-jitsu. That dude is insane. He's trained under a pretty high-level black belt in Gracie. That dude is a beast. In order for the Diaz-Edwards fight to mean something to me, he's gonna have to finish him
Yeah.
because Nate Diaz has a chin that I can't even explain. I don't even understand
Yeah.
how he stands up. I don't get it. I don't get it. But he's a killer, man. He has that confidence. Now, him being unranked is to me is due to him coming around. So when he goes from division to division, it's really hard to rank him. But if he was ranked in 155 or 170, he's going to be a top 10 guy. So I wouldn't say that he is unranked. Now, if you want to go to the 170 not want to fighting each other, first of all of them think they deserve a title shot. Every single one of them. There's not one of them doesn't think they don't. First of all, Colby Covington, I will agree with him. He lost his title fight in the 4th round. It was not a bad fight. He beat Woodley. I wouldn't be against him fighting Usman again. First of all, Jorge Masvidal did not deserve that. I'll say that right now. Hell no. If anyone deserved it, it was Colby Covington. He's a number 1 guy other than the champion, man. It is what it is.
Wonder Boy.
And then you got, Wonder Boy, he's got to fight someone better. I mean, he's got to have one more before you can say that. But
I know.
When it comes to 170 being marketable, nobody is marketable other than Jorge and Covington. Usman is not marketable. A lot of the time he's boring. He doesn't talk a lot of shit. It's a lot of guys like that just aren't marketable. The only reason GSP was marketable because he was such a great champion. He was such a great champion. It's hard to argue when you win all those fights. But he also beat guys that were super insane, like Matt Hughes. Like, he's beating legends. So, therefore, that's why he was marketable. But, like, again, Usman's just not marketable, man. His style's not marketable. It's not. The 170 division is facing a lot of heat when it comes to marketability because they're just not. So, but when it comes to Diaz and Edwards, I don't think it's a should have been made. I don't think this is a fight that really makes sense. If you ask me, Leon deserved better. But Diaz is going to be. No one wants to sit here and be like, yeah, let me fight a Diaz brother. Yeah, that's the funniest night of my life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not. When you step in there with a Diaz brother, bro, you know it's about to go down. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. They're not going to get knocked out easily. You're going to get cut up. You're going to have some bruises. You're going to have some black eyes. And you can't even take them to the ground because if you do, they're too good. They invite you on the ground. They invite you to the ground. Nate Diaz lays on his back in a guard and was like, I dare you. I dare you. Come in it. It's going to be a problem for you because he knows it. He knows he's going to get you. He's got long limbs. He's huge. Like, dude, he's going to get you.
Yeah, the other thing I would just say, too, and I want to hear, Monique, your thoughts on this fight as well, but the other thing I would say, too, is that I don't think a lot of guys want to fight Leon Edwards, to be honest with you. No. He's the forgotten about guy in the division. The guy's an absolute beast. He's a high-level striker. He's a well-rounded fighter overall. He can do a little bit of everything, but his striking's right on point. If he didn't stick that finger out in the Bilal fight, that punch might have knocked Bilal out.
Yeah, for sure.
That shot was clean. If we're being honest about Leon Edwards, this guy's a stud. He's a guy that I really want Usman to fight, but I don't think guys like Covington want to take a risk at fighting him.
They don't,
because they don't want to lose and then lose out on their title shot. And
exactly.
I think
that's the best point.
Yeah, that's part of the division too. Is since they all feel like they deserve a title shot. None of them want to fight each other and lose their chance at a title shot. But the UFC and Dana White have to put their foot down and say, listen, guys, you're not all going to fight Usman. I got to have this division can't be inactive. It's one of the best divisions I have talent-wise. You can't just be inactive. You got to fight each other. I don't care anymore. And if you're not going to fight, you can leave the promotion. Good luck with Bellator making a fraction of what you would have made here. And I think he's got to use that. I don't think he uses it enough. I think he should use that. Go to Bellator then. Leave. Go ahead. But Monique, how do you feel about the fight? Because I want to hear your thoughts because this is very frustrating for me.
It's frustrating for me too, because it's like it's really random. Like, because like when I saw this fight in the middle of the night, I was like, are you actually kidding me right now? I didn't actually believe that this fight was actually a real thing. I thought someone made a joke or something like that. Just because it's like Nate Diaz, after all this time, is coming back and facing Leon Edwards out of all people. I believe Vicente Luque was the one who actually called out Nate Diaz actually after this fight, and I was like, everybody's calling out Nate Diaz, and all of a sudden Nate Diaz gets Leon Edwards, and Leon Edwards is someone that many people really forget about. But you shouldn't forget about him. He's an amazing striker. I don't know who I want to win this fight. A lot of people online are saying Leon Edwards is a huge favorite to win this fight right now. So I mean,
So
I
was
just
Connor.
don't get it. Yeah.
So was Connor.
I can tell you, I'll make my pick right now. I got Leon winning this fight. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be an absolute battle. But the one thing you can do with the Diaz brother is you can get them to fight your fight, and because they will, their whole thing is I'm going to be tougher than you are. I'm going to be tougher at doing what you are good at doing. And so Leon will turn this into a striking fight, and he'll just counterpunch the shit out of him. He won't knock him out. It will be a good fight. It will probably get to the ground at some point, where Diaz will win some points. He'll probably win 2 rounds of the fight. Or sorry, it will probably be a 3-round fight. So he'll probably win 1 of the 3 rounds.
No, it's a 5-round fight. It's the first 5-round fight.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, he'll probably win 2 of the rounds. So I'm not talking about a blowout here. I'm not going out on a limb like I did with Izzy versus Jan Dustin.
Yeah.
This will be a really good fight, but I think Leon's going to draw him into a striking match, and Leon knows how to use his length just as well as Wonder Boy, which should have been the fight. It should have been Wonder Boy versus Leon Edwards, but
I agree.
We got what we got.
Yeah, I wonder who Wonder Boy's gonna fight next. Just because I'm trying to figure out like everybody in the division. I just can't. He already beat Vicente Luque that one time.
He's gotta go beat. I was just gonna say he's gotta go beat Luque again.
Again, yeah.
That kid's a beast.
By the way,
Yeah,
he absolutely demolished. Let's not cut corners, and he destroyed Vicente Luque.
Yeah, he did. So I think he'd do that again, but I'm just thinking Wonder Boy. I don't know who he's gonna face, but let's go. That will do it for this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. Next week we'll have the card. Well, I don't know who's gonna headline the card anymore because we don't have Vettori versus anybody at the moment, but we will see. And thank you, Dustin, for joining in halfway. Really nice to hear your thoughts on and everything. And obviously to my co-host Alec Carr, thank you for always joining. And we will see you guys next week on Fights Unwrapped. Bye, everybody.